Hi, yes, hello. We are aware that we are rather late on this topic, as many, and I mean many people have talked about Tobi. I'm mainly jumping in to further analyze what went down and to give it an unbiased perspective.
And trust me, we've had a lot of fuck-ups in this situation behind the scenes. But we're making this video to do things right, because so far the commentary community has made a lot of questionable decisions.
We're going to be clarifying things as we go, but first, let's get these disclaimers out of the way. This video is for criticism purposes only. Do not attack or belittle the people we mention. This video is in no way meant to reignite the drama. We are just looking over the entire situation as a whole.
In this video, we will be covering the drama that includes triggering topics such as blackmail, pedophilia, child sexual exploitation, suicide baiting, gaslighting, transphobia, and racism. Please exit the video if any of these topics make you or anyone else watching uncomfortable.
Thank you, and enjoy the video. So, the Tobi drama. Yeah, I know.
This situation blew up big time, to be blunt. It wasn't normal YouTube drama that just escalated into yikes.
But we're not here to reignite the drama. Trust me, that's the last thing we want to do right now. We're here to merely analyze what went down as the situation progressed.
But to do that, we're going to have to address some things first.
So there's this one part of the drama people put a lot of attention onto.
Right now, I'm speaking to Madlib's Art and whoever else you're collaborating with on this supposed video y'all are making. Unless you're looking to end up like your little friend right here, just don't do it. You already look bad for getting yourself involved for no reason other than to do Tobi's dirty work. So just spare yourself the time and the inevitable tank in subscribers and just make some other video. I'm saying this for your own good.
Now, Omni has already apologized for this. She knew it wasn't a good thing to do and she regrets her actions. That's good, but the reason why I'm bringing this up is because that was towards me and Madlibs. I was going to be Libby's collab partner, and well, it didn't happen, obviously.
So I'm here instead. Great.
The reason why I was making that video was because people had been bringing up the situation to me, and I decided to follow the trend. I was looking into the situation because I didn't know much about it until Libby reached out to me with some more information. Libby came to me with concerns that Omni had been cutting up the DMs. From what she showed me, I believed her and asked her if she wanted to collab. I enjoyed my last collaboration, so I thought it would be fun to do another one. So we got started on production, and production took forever. But once we had gotten a good chunk done, I brought Phantom in onto the project. Phantom's my script editor. I usually bring her on my videos to get a second opinion on the scripts, do proofreading, the works.
I get summoned, I do the job, I get paid. Poof, I'm quality control. I check grammar, I reword sentences, and sometimes I help Junk out with the writing process.
Listen, English is not my first language, okay?
Junkie, you are a born and bred American. What are you talking about?
Shh, don't tell him that!
Anyway, I popped onto the project and did the usual. The script was about 15 pages in progress when I came aboard, and by the time it was ready for me to start editing, it was around 13 pages long. Usually I get started early on the script, but for some reason there were stalls for me starting early. When I did get to it, there were issues, mainly because of work ethic differences. Typically, I watch the videos being reviewed with Junk and the collab partner. Or at least someone shares and explains the situation of the video to me. Not this time. There were a lot of discrepancies that popped up throughout the script. Usually they were about DMs or some sort of ad hominem argument. When I went to go look for the evidence that was cited, because I wasn't too clear on the arguments Libby and Junk wanted to make, I actually couldn't find anything. The main concerns I had were about Libby's points, because everything Junk did expanded on her cited information, but that evidence wasn't there. And that can happen in script production. Sometimes someone just forgets to fill me in. I asked Libby if she could give me the reference for one of her arguments, and she told me Junk had it.
I didn't have anything.
So I made a group chat for all of us because, hey, I don't want to be confrontational. And I asked again if anyone had the evidence. Then Libby gave me the video link that she was referencing when she was supposedly referencing a DM. I was confused as hell, but I had a job to do. I asked Junk if he wanted me to fact check everything else, since there were just a lot of videos to watch.
I was gonna give Phantom the green light, but Libby didn't think it was important enough and just wanted to continue along with the script. That wasn't smart of me to do, I know.
That's when I started getting skeptical. So I kept pestering Junkie because the entire script was just a mess. Hey, Junkie, what the hell is going on in the script? Are we defending Tobi, or what?
Well, we're doing a neutral party perspective, but leaning more towards defending Tobi.
So are we defending Tobi?
Well, no.
So we are defending Tobi.
Yeah.
Great. I did my job, except for fact-checking. Worked with Libby and Junk because Libby kept adding more onto the script, even rewriting my previous edits. But whatever, at that point, I already got paid.
I had to pay out of pocket.
My college funds appreciate your existence.
Libby took really long to get me the audio too, which slowed production down by, well, a lot. Granted, Libby was going through some personal stuff at the time, which I understand. I've been through that stuff myself. Eventually, I did get the audio, and it got to about halfway through the project, which was already over 40 minutes long. But then Libby told me she wanted to drop the project and come back to it at a later date.
Junkie wasn't happy.
You damn right I wasn't happy.
I wasn't either. So then Junkie asked me to come back onto the project and help rewrite the entire script to a solo video. We spent half a week and some long nights trying to reword everything into his style. But every time we got to Libby's parts, something was missing or the argument just felt off. It felt awful to say, but I mentioned to Junkie that he might want to rethink the video. There were a lot of inconsistencies, and after Libby left, I was finally able to sit down and watch the video the script was addressing with Junk. We weren't even a minute into Omnia's video when I told Junk that none of Libby's points were valid.
That made me feel awful inside, mainly due to the fact that we put in so much effort into a video that felt so disconnected.
We dropped the project after that, and I felt awful that Junkie's efforts were just wasted. But at that point, it didn't really feel right continuing the video when the evidence we did have was biased, and the evidence that I was excluded from told a much bigger story.
Looking back, I'm glad the video didn't get finished, as my opinion drastically changed over time as I began to see more and more people talking about it. Harsh Opinions, Nani, Just Robot, and many more were making their own videos about the matter, and those videos only reaffirmed me that not continuing the video was the correct choice. Those videos made the drama into a fucking nightmare. Others were called out, people kept lashing out at each other, and as I just sat there and watched, I felt guilty. Like, I needed to say something. Some of my friends already knew I was going to talk about this and were wondering why I stopped. Honestly, I did want to pick up the project again, it's just, it didn't feel right to just toss it aside and watch everyone just get pulled into the tsunami of misinformation. I say that because nobody was listening to each other. Hell, when I first got started, I fell into the same trap myself. So with a refreshed mindset, I decided to give everyone a fair chance to explain themselves and analyze where everything went wrong, including myself. This time, I brought Phantom onto the project, but as a collaboration partner instead. That way, they can help me keep my bias in check.
Because I know no one.
Good. Keep it that way. First off, I'd like to start off with an apology. This is Trent, an artist who used to be good friends with Tobi, but after a falling out, which we will cover later on in the video, Tobi decided to blackmail him through DMs via an alt account she had on Twitter. At the time, I was collaborating with Libby, and when Trent confronted me about it, I didn't believe it was blackmail. Why? Because I'm a smooth brain that didn't do his research. I highly regret that decision, and I want to say that I'm sorry, Trent. I apologize for acting like a pompous moron towards you and treating you like absolute crap. I should have looked more into the situation than I initially did. I appreciate that you accepted my apology during our interview, but I still regret the decision I made. There's no excuse for my behavior, and I'm very sorry for what I've done.
I've never personally talked to Trent. Hell, I didn't know of him until Junkie and Libby started that collab. But When I first heard of him, all that I was told was that he supported a pedophile and that the video would be bashing on him. Ugh. I made a bunch of excuses for my thoughts at the time once the blackmail DM screenshot was shared with me. I tried to justify it as if the blackmail didn't sound threatening, that everything was just being exaggerated. Those are not acceptable excuses. What happened to Trent is a violation of his sense of safety and privacy. Blackmail is a serious offense and it should not be taken lightly. Blackmail from a friend introduces an entirely personal addition of pain, and it just becomes your worst nightmare. No one should ever have to go through that. It should never be excused because the person, quote, didn't mean it that way. That's horrible. Trent, I'm sorry for everything we've put you through. You were a victim in this situation and we treated you like an offender. That was horribly, horribly wrong. You have my sincerest apologies for the way that we treated you, the way we thought of you, and the way that we planned to address you. What we did was wrong. Horribly wrong.
Once again, Trent, we're sorry about how we treated you. We hope that after all this, you can relax and heal. Like with Trent, there were many biases I had in the past that I want to address. I'm friends with many of the people involved. Manga Common, Harsh Opinions, Nani, Jar, Fuchsia Butters, Nezzy, Madlips, and many more that got themselves involved. I am aware of my own biases here, which is why I asked Phantom to step in.
Because I know nobody. But I do have my own biases. Every human does. I'm not a fan of Madlibs or Just a Robot because of work ethic differences. I like my work done and paid for. They like writing over it. It's nothing personal. I'm sure that they are nice people behind the screens, but I have a professional distaste for their behavior. Otherwise, I have edited some of Junkie's collabs with the before-mentioned crowd, but our conversations were strictly work-related and maxed out to around an hour or two at most.
That's why before we did any scripting or editing, we did our research and contacted everyone involved. And I mean everyone. Joking aside, yes, we did contact almost everyone. We started with about, I believe, 7 people, but as production continued, the list grew to a total of 18 people. Just a note here, we did ask everyone if they wanted to consent to share their DMs. This is to be very transparent with the user involved and gives them a choice on the matter. And of course, not everyone accepted our request to interview, and hell, some never even got back with us, which is fine. It's fine. That's their choice. We just wanted to make that first step in contacting the people involved before we come to any conclusions. It's why we're going to go over everyone we considered relevant to the drama.
Just to mention, the Tobi drama is huge once you dig into it, so we might have missed some people, but we're going to try and follow through with the people we are aware of and their roles in the drama. The order we've chosen is based off of Tobi's individual dramas as well as the Kai and Omnia's situation. Otherwise, we would just be copying the Lizard Man's video.
Love you, Spock. Everything started with Tobi. This is the Tobi drama after all, and in that original drama, there were a lot of dramas revolving around her original drama. Are you sick of the word drama yet? Cause I am!
But seriously, Tobi is either the origin of the problem or the escalator of the drama.
Tobi has 3 distinct origins to her controversies: her support of Shane Dawson, the pedophilia accusations towards Ben the Looney, and the yaoi recommendations. These are all points that Kai and Omnia bring up in their videos addressing Tobi's hypocrisy.
Drama regarding Tobi is not new. She became infamous for her video on Creepshow Art, which is now deleted, but introduced her videos to controversy. There are many concerns regarding Tobi and many accusations laid at her feet that she is a gaslighter, toxic, an absolute hypocrite, and amoral as a whole. I would say that there is a lot of merit to these accusations, but most of all, impulsive. The first video that started this drama was a knee-jerk rant posted by Tobi about how she felt that her favorite YouTubers were getting some slack. Shane Dawson and his various controversies, Gabby Hanna and PewDiePie as key examples. This right here was the straw that broke the camel's back.
The reason why everyone was concerned was because 1, Shane's a disgusting individual. 2, her defending him was just asking for trouble. And 3, she claims to be an ally to BLM and LGBTQ+. But, you know, those actions completely go against general human decency. Tobi, you can't support BLM but support radically insensitive creators at the same time. That's hypocritical. And no, Tobi, you can't accept apologies on behalf of African American people. That's stupid.
Yeah, so people in our community raised their concerns in the comments section, as people do. Tobi did have a fan base, and Kai and Omnia were previously fans. Kai posted his first video, Tobi Has a Meltdown over Shane Dawson, PewDiePie, and Drama Channel's The Faults of Tobi on June 24th, 2020. This is where the cookie begins to crumble. Tobi's actions festered for a while, and more internal and behind-the-scenes drama occurred in the Fruitcake Club, otherwise known as the FCK, such as the pedophilia accusations towards Ben the Looney and the fallout between the FCK and Trent.
And of course, Tobi escalated things by making it public through several deleted tweets she made.
Like this.
And it wasn't just Twitter either. She goes on a tirade on her community posts on YouTube as well. Even in a tribute video where she talks about her dead dog, she sneaks in the Ben segment, and it's not subtle at all.
I just don't care about finishing on them. I just don't want to work on them. I just don't give a shit. It just seems insensitive, to be completely honest, and I just don't feel right doing them anymore. Ben Lou's a pedophile on Twitter who draws underage characters fucking.
Tobi also addresses Trent, or one-off showman, as a, quote, backstabbing beta cuck.
Trent was also going to do a video on him. Don't worry about him. He's just a stupid little beta cuck who doesn't like any controversy, even though he loves to stab people in the back because he's a fucking little beta cuck.
Not to mention her attempt on blackmailing him. How pleasant.
Don't even get me started on the yaoi drama. Good lord.
Oh yeah! That's my bit.
Good. Don't even want to touch this anyways.
Yeah, so to sum up the yaoi drama, Tobi recommended porn to her fanbase that may or may not contain minors. Let me explain. On the same exact date that Tobi made this tweet calling out Ben to be a pedophile, Tobi made this tweet. Now, Tobi being a fan of yaoi is not the concern. The concern is that Tobi is publicly posting porn titles to her Twitter. And no, Tobi, just because not all yaoi is porn does not mean that the yaoi you showed wasn't. I know those titles. That's some kinky and fucked up shit right there.
And one thing to note, Tobi, saying I'm not a channel for kids isn't an excuse. I know that my content isn't targeted for kids, but it should be common sense to just not share the stuff publicly.
Especially if your Twitter is not marked not safe for work, but you've had problems with that too, haven't you? Now, if you want a more in-depth analysis on the yaoi drama, watch Minty's video. She knows a lot more than us and was actually the person we consulted in our research. But to brief it briefly, Tobi put out that tweet, and while it did not show explicit images of porn, it was posting the titles with her recommendations. Also, she's done this more than once. This was not a direct tweet, instead a reply to some thread, but as Tobi phrases it, here are her, quote, faves. The majority of Tobi's yaoi recommendations revolve around titles exploring adultery, drug use, rape, and even underage sexual relationships.
Yikes. Now, this is when Tobi released her video talking about CP, titled, It's Still Wrong If It's Drawn. Granted, she doesn't mention Ben by name in this video, but it should be pretty obvious it's related to him in some form.
Oh, and Tobi's not in the clear here with this video, however, because it becomes a main point in Kai and Omnia's first video together, The Fault of Tobi, featuring Kai Weiss, because of, well, hypocrisy. Also, it's another beat of her insulting her fanbase in the comment section.
I mean, with how long this situation has been going on, I'm not surprised, considering the kind of person we're dealing with here.
Guys, I'm okay. I just got overwhelmed. I really enjoyed the show. It was awesome, and I love all the girls. Seriously, no hate at all. It's probably just a moody week for me. I'm sorry for leaving. And then, and then I ended up retweeting, saying, no, you were upset, and Minx kept going. She's a bitch. The show is fake. A girl's almost crying. Know when to shut your fucking mouth and stop. For real, you fucking left. That's some alpha shit. Mad respect, fellow Hoosier. She is a bitch. I'm like actually mad. I'm really disappointed. Oh well. I'm mad because they're bitch. They're bitches. They're fucking assholes. They're cunts. Like, no, get fucked. I don't care how many followers you have. You're a fucking stupid bitch ass cunt. How fucking dare you? Somebody's like there's videos that you just like keep going above. Like, get fucked. God, what a bitch. I actually kind of hate Just the Minx, the Ophelia Bear, and Bose. That like really made me angry. I'm like actually triggered now.
I apologize if I come off as pessimistic here, but we've been working on this project for over a month straight.
We've been working on this longer than I've worked on my 22-page college research paper. Back onto Kai and Omnia, they, like others, were concerned about Tobi's awful behavior. Now, keep in mind that Omnia and Kai are new to the commentary community, and they also used to be fans of Tobi.
In their call-out video, Kai and Omnia address the faults of Tobi. They go over many of Tobi's problems, mainly on how hypocritical she comes off as, like how she supports Shane Dawson even though she's an ally to BLM, how Tobi decides what she thinks trans people can get offended by, and other insensitive statements that Tobi has made. One of the main concerns was how Tobi defined pedophilia, as in a person drawing any sort of sexually explicit or implicit material of children, fictional or not, or even partaking in such materials, classified a person as a pedophile, though she has also drawn sexually implicative images and sexually explicit images of minors before. Not to mention she's done this not once, but twice. One with a Todoroki drawing in BDSM, and another that is just straight up porn of Usagi from Sailor Moon. So yeah, hypocrisy. Practice what you preach, Tobi.
Tobi is also deflective whenever she is confronted about these drawings. We all know that they are sketchy, but she would say that the pieces were drawn years ago despite them being posted in the previous year. There are also excuses of the art being of aged up characters, but that is never stated in either post. There are also actual legal definitions that don't match up to what Tobi is talking about. We'll go more in depth later, but keep that in mind. Tobi does not know what she's talking about. She even mentions that it's a gray area. But with how she treats Ben's situation, you wouldn't think of that.
After Kai and Omnia released their video, Tobi quite literally flipped her shit. She began making Twitter threads explaining her actions, accusing Kai and Omnia of lying, manipulation, even cutting up DMs. Not to mention saying that they were framing her as a pedophile. Granted, some of the accusations had merit, but not really. For example, while yes, the DMs were cut up, when seen in full, they didn't really help Tobi's case.
And while Omnia did release select DMs out of the conversation, it was originally done to keep everything else private and only as irrelevant information, e.g. Tobi's hypocrisy. Omnia only released the full DMs after Tobi accused her of manipulating the context to fit her narrative. Then Tobi escalated things again. Omnia and Kai never called Tobi a pedophile. They only said according to your logic, and while this could have been worded more properly, which even Kai and Omnia admit to, Tobi jumped the gun to say that they were framing her as a pedophile. For someone talking about the importance of context, she was not using it.
Then Tobi released her video titled Addressing My Controversies. This only made everything worse. There is a saying that I follow to a T. If you see something and it makes you look bad, giving it attention will only make it worse. The video was not what everyone expected it to be. When you do something wrong, you apologize for it. Tobi didn't do that. Rather than apologize and take accountability for her actions, Tobi tried to downplay everything. She made excuses out of her BPD, that Kai and Omnia were attacking her for no reason. She blamed everyone else but herself, and granted, Tobi did apologize, but for some minor conditions added in.
Tobi's apologies were half-baked. She was apologizing not because she was sorry, but because she got called out. Not to mention her I'm sorries were followed by I'm sorry because other people got offended, or that people took her words the wrong way. She never addresses the root of these problems, herself. Now, I'm not a person to be accepting these apologies, but they didn't seem genuine. Kai and Omnia made their respective responses to the situation as things escalated over on YouTube and Twitter. There were lots of tweets from people either friends with Tobi or defending Tobi, such as Nezzy Monster, Madlibs, Miss Easy, and Fuchsia Butters. Hell, even Tobi stepped in to drag on the issue some more.
Kai and Omnia both made videos in response to Tobi and her friends. Kai posted his video titled Tobi, Madlibs, and Nezzy Monster, The Lies, and Omnia posted Dear Tobi and Madlibs, featuring Kai Weiss. At this point, other people started getting involved in the drama as well, Harsh Opinions and Nani, for example.
Their videos were not well received, and we'll go deeper into that later. But while these videos were aimed to be neutral or third-party observations of the drama, the community misunderstood their videos to be defending Tobi.
What didn't help was the fact that Tobi promoted it on her YouTube community page with a comment attached that obviously wasn't taking any of this seriously.
Following all of that, Kai made his video responding to Harsh and her points of criticism called Not So Harsh Opinions, For Harsh Opinions, My Response. This started a snowball effect because Harsh has friends, and those friends also made videos about the situation.
This is where manga comment comes in via the comment section of Kai and Harsh's videos. There are some things to be said about manga's comments, but we'll get back to it when we talk about manga specifically.
Hopeless Peaches also popped into the drama at this time and even had thoughts of making a video on the topic. She has yet to do so as of writing the script. Like manga, there is more to Hopeless Peaches' comments to be analyzed, but we will go more into depth later on. The key point to note here is that Hopeless Peaches was a friend of Tobi, and not a friend of Omnia's. Friendship is a two-way street.
Now, this is when the drama was starting to slow down a bit. Tobi stopped acknowledging the situation, her sub count continued to drop, and the only people who were making videos were those reflecting on the situation, like Thuman. Everything was quiet.
Then Jar happened.
Yeah, Jar uploaded a video collaboration titled Tobi Drama featuring Manga Comment and Fuchsia Butters with one of the people that I am very certain didn't make things worse for them. The video was not good in the slightest. Not only was the editing atrocious, it had incorrect screenshots shown, horrid arguments, and obvious bias in favor of Tobi.
I'm joining in because Tobi is my friend.
We'll be touching upon that collab in a bit, but the important fact to note here is that Jar's video revived the drama. Another creator who had commented on the Tobi drama before, Prismate Luke, responded, and there were a few issues in it too, but nothing major. But the revived drama did prod Kai into responding as well. His video titled This Is Getting Sad, responding to Just a Robot, Manga Comment, and Fuchsia Butters, dropped less than a week after Jar posted his video.
Jar eventually made a reflection video on November 21st, and Omnia made her own reflection over the drama on the 25th. Both Kai and Harsh made amends to each other and have unlisted their response since the writing of the script. Everyone reflected.
Except Tobi. Tobi's various dramas have unfurled over a good 6-month period without any remorse. To follow the reflections of the community at large, we've decided to look over every factor of every person that has affected this drama. Here are the following for Tobi.
Not only did she just not show remorse, the apologies that she did make were flimsy at best. Tobi continued to avoid responsibility and push the blame onto her BPD instead of acknowledging her mistakes, and she uses BPD and her episodes as excuses for her behavior. When Tobi does this, she undermines the consequences of her actions. She belittles the people she claims to be an ally to, hurts the people she claims to be friends with, and refuses to take accountability.
None of that bodes well for Tobi, as it should. Those are absolutely deplorable ways to treat your friends, your fans, and your community, not to mention random strangers. Now, as much as I like to play prosecutor, let's look at some reasons to explain Tobi's explosive behavior.
Of course you'd want to play bad cop, good cop.
Anyway, BPD, or borderline personality disorder, is a mental disorder that results in an unstable emotional personality. People with BPD can have strong emotional reactions to triggering events, which results in a generally unstable state of life. They can suffer from depression, anxiety, and a sense of despair that can lead them to disassociate from reality. BPD is a serious mental illness. Tobi does not treat her condition seriously, but it does explain to a degree her behavior. Tobi has also been suffering from grief. Her dog passed away, and mixed with BPD, her emotional state is most likely awry. She could have misunderstood the situation, and she did delete one of her videos and made her receive backlash. Her original Creepshow art video, just mind you. Does this excuse any of her behavior? No! Tobi needs to apologize and actually mean it. No, I did it because of blank, or it's because of my BPD excuses. She needs to actually make an apology reflecting upon her horrible behavior towards Omnia, Kai, Ben, Trench, and countless others. Other people have admitted their wrongs. It's not that hard. It's about time that Tobi takes responsibility for hers. Get help, Tobi. If your BPD is controlling your life to this point, get some actual professional help. I don't know your situation fully, but I can tell you that at the very least. We all have our barriers with mental health, whether that be therapists and psychiatrists themselves, or coverage in our respective areas. But an attempt has to be made. This is a message to everyone. Do not let these emotions fester. You have the choice to be better. Now, you're probably wondering, who is this guy? Well, Toasty Vanilla is a YouTuber and a friend of Tobi. He was also a founding member of the Fruitcake Club. He was the person that invited Tobi into the server where her drama with Ben began to escalate. He knew Tobi before any drama went down. They were good friends and are still on good terms according to Toasty. Toasty has his own slew of issues, and we're not gonna talk about that. Not here anyway. Toasty's role in the drama falls under the FCK, bystanders, and escalators. He told me how the Ben drama escalated from his point of view. People began to come to Toasty with concerns about Ben's art in his DMs, and so he confronted Ben regarding his content in a group chat, of all things. You can imagine how well that went.
It is worth to note, I was in call with Tobi at the time. So I'm like, hey Ben, this is a bit of a sketchy drawing. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe you didn't mean to draw it like this. But, my guy, what's up? And then he defends it. I kind of, like, throw back and forth on him and be like, hey, That's a bit sketchy, blah blah blah. Tobi gets involved. Fucking screams at the guy. It makes a huge mess. I tell her to calm down. That didn't work. Made her angrier. You know, it's Tobi's personality. Libby gets involved, starts talking to him more calmly, obviously, and then Nezzy gets involved, and Nezzy somehow is the one to actually convince Ben to like take it down and be like, all right. And then it was a bit of a mess, but like it got sorted out and it all got deleted. Blah blah blah.
As you can see, Tobi was the escalator. She did not calm down, and even when Ben, the one being accosted, was calm, she got angrier and angrier. Tobi wasn't the one to start this conversation. Toasty was. He's the one who called him out, but Tobi made it more personal. Toasty also told me how he felt disappointed and uncomfortable with how Tobi acted at times, especially regarding the Trent situation.
We'll share this because it's something either Tobi hasn't ever addressed to me, and I think it was kind of fucked up. So in conversation with me, Tobi told me that she wanted to see Trent cornered, or something kind of fucked up. I said, hey, don't say that. That makes me really uncomfortable. Then she went on this long spiel about like, oh my god, I couldn't care anymore right now. What you think? My dog is dying. How could you do this to me? And I'm like, it's a high tense situation. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna leave you alone. I hope your dog's okay.
Tobi blackmailed Trent using her sex worker account, and she enjoyed it. She wanted Trent to panic. She, quote, wanted to see him cornered.
I'm still here, by the way. I just don't have much to really add to this.
Toasty and Tobi lost contact with each other sometime over the summer after Toasty left the FCK. And I would be unjust to not note the current drama and allegations against Toasty. Like, those are some heavy and serious allegations. Once again, we're not that well versed in this subject because we've been focusing on Tobi's dramas, but I would take everything with a grain of salt. You still go watch the videos, make your own opinion about the matter, but take it with a grain of salt.
If you want to look into the situation yourself, I'll leave a link to the video in the top right-hand corner.
Be aware that both videos do not take a professional or non-biased approach, and they are directly making accusations. To quote Jess from her script, I hope you shit out a fucking toaster. Then your ass will burn like shit and be traumatized like the kids you hurt. Fuck off and get therapy. To be brief, we are not defending or going against Toasty in this situation. We have no knowledge nor say in that. Just be open-minded, and if you want to hear more from Toasty on that topic, he does discuss it more in his own interview, which you can find in the description below. Otherwise, let's move on.
As we explained earlier, Trent was a victim of blackmail by Tobi. Sorry again, by the way. He was also a member of the FCK and used to be pretty chill with Toasty and Tobi. He also invited a friend of his into the server as well, Ben the Loony. But this was when shit started to hit the fan. People on the server noticed the drawings that Ben was making and began to give him a lot of shit. Tobi was the one who escalated it by accusing him of drawing CP because of his artwork. She even went as far as by implying that he's a child molester. This whole situation made Trent want little to nothing to do with it. When I asked him about the whole ordeal, he said he was worried that he'd be dragged into the drama and just wanted to distance himself from it. He even blocked her on Twitter for good measure. Tobi, however, was having none of that. Trent received a message from one of Tobi's alt accounts where she threatened him that if he continued to hang around Ben, she'd call him out on a video of hers. As you can see, Tobi's only way of solving things is to make them worse.
Don't forget this.
Trent was also going to do a video on him. Don't worry about him. He's just a stupid little beta cuck who doesn't like any controversy, even though he loves to stab people in the back because he's a fucking little beta cuck.
Classy. Now, the only way that Trent was able to speak out about this was by leaking the DM that blackmailed him. Tobi wasn't happy about that. He also went on to Minty's video to give a summation of the events from his perspective, which we will also be linking down below. But still, Trent was pestered and heckled by old friends and the members of the FCK. Hell, even Junkie went after him.
I said I was sorry!
Until Kai and Omnia's videos on Tobi came out, no one was talking about Trent. Hell, even Minty's video, which was the only one to outright defend Trent, did not come out until late September. No one was stepping up for Trent until Tobi got called out. He suffered in silence. His friends turned on him, and no one deigned to listen to him.
Except Minty. Trent came to Minty about the situation because it was practically breaking him down. No one else believed him. Until people were calling out Tobi, everyone else was on her side. Trent was just alone.
This is why it is important to look into both sides of a story. In retrospect, Trent is the obvious victim, but people were treating him like the offender. Tobi straight out blackmailed him, and Trent even said he could have pressed charges, but people flocked to Tobi instead. Tobi has made a habit of twisting narratives by pushing blame onto others because of leaked DMs. But what's worse? A leaked DM or an actual threat? The choice is obvious. So try not to draw quick conclusions like Junkie did.
Oh, for God's sake! Ben the Looney is an artist and a close friend of Trent's and Minty. He was invited into the FCK server by Trent because that's what friends do. However, he started getting into some hot water when people in the FCK found out about a sketch he made of OKKO that was explicit. Things escalated when Tobi began to claim that he was drawing child porn. It got really bad to the point that he eventually just walked out of the server. Things were quiet for a while until Ben decided, fuck it, and posted the drawing online anyway. Now, I understand where he's coming from, but from how bad the situation got, I don't think that was a smart move.
Ben even reflects upon this point later, where he admits that he was impulsive, and that the choice wasn't the best one to make in retrospect.
After Ben posted the OKKO drawing online, the members of the FCK were not too happy with him. This is when Tobi began to escalate things. Again.
Notably, Tobi was not the only one to call out Ben, though from our record, she was the only one to flat out call him a pedophile. She even directly adds him, telling her followers to block him. Other members of the FCK did tweet about Ben as well, such as Toasty Vanilla, Fuchsia Butters, Mad Libs, and Slimmers. But their tweets have since been deleted. Tobi also made statements on how she was going to make a video on Ben, but this too was eventually cancelled.
Except she mentioned it in her dog's memorial video. She mentioned it in her dead dog video. Okay. How distasteful do you have to be to do something like that? God.
Tobi did not push the issue further than that. However, she still went through with a quick rant about what was classified as CSEM.
It's not quote-unquote CP. Porn requires consent. It's CSEM. And more importantly, it quite literally cannot be drawn. I personally think it's fucking gross. But that doesn't make it CSEM. Even if you ignore or disagree with this comment, Tobi, as a survivor of CSA, please call it CSEM at least.
No.
After that, Omnia, Kai, and Minty's videos dropped and started a chain of questioning of Tobi's overall hypocrisy. In Minty's video, she specifically called out how the FCK harassed and bullied Ben. She also explored Tobi's history regarding sexually drawn content regarding minors and yaoi.
Ben eventually spoke up about the issue in his video addressing some things on October 22nd. He explained his side of the story and even links to Minty's video for analysis on Tobi's harassment. While Ben didn't originally see what was wrong with his drawings, since they were just cartoons to him, he grew concerned because his friends were being affected by the drama. Trent was someone who supported him and spoke out for him, but was dragged through the mud because of it. Ben apologized and understood that even if he didn't think what he was drawing was wrong, that it was better in the long run to tread more carefully. Ben did draw some sketchy stuff, we're not debating that, but calling him a pedophile is a separate matter entirely. The debate between CSEM and FPDM is a legal gray area that we will divulge into later. Trust me. Mad Libs was another player in the Tobi drama. She was Tobi's friend, a member of the FCK, and even a friend of Junkie. Mad Libs was the one who calmed Tobi down. She was the mediator of the group. But when the Tobi drama started, all the way back with Ben, she acted pettily. Mad Libs made her own tweets about Ben and often supported Tobi across her platforms. She was not too happy to see Kai and Omnia quote-unquote harassing Tobi.
When I was researching the drama initially, I reached out to Libby for a collaboration. Production for the said collab, however, was painfully slow. There were days where I'd think we'd be done with the script, only to find out that she wanted to add more to the project that was already over 20 pages long. It kept going on and on and on until eventually she DM'd me saying that she just wanted to drop the collab for now until further notice, which frustrated me quite a bit, but looking back, I'm glad the video was never made, as I no longer stand by anything that was said in that script. Ugh. God.
I'm glad I told you it was shit.
I remember the day she dropped the project too. It was on October 2nd. I asked Phantom if she could reword the script since I was still invested in the project at the time. Then we got to the bit where we looked over some of Libby's subtweets and how some of them were just petty.
Let's talk about those tweets. So, Omnia, Madlibs, and a few other key figures in the FCK got into some Twitter arguments, originally because of a subtweet Libby made in regards to Z-Fix's art. Omnia did not check the dates and assumed that the tweet was referring to her, since, you know, Libby was a friend of Tobi, subtweeting the facts. Libby made another subtweet directed at Omnia in response, calling her a two-faced liar who was only making videos against Tobi for content. She also liked tweets that implied that Omnia had, quote, secret preto urges, and that's why they were accusing Tobi of the same stuff, unquote. Nice. Kai and Omnia both made their own videos on Tobi and Madlibs, as well as the other members of the FCK who were getting involved in the drama as a response. Both apologized for their own petty comments displayed on Twitter, but they wanted to note the rude behavior that had been exhibited by the other side. In Omnia's response video, she did leave an aggressive warning against Madlibs and any collab partners from making an additional video, but she removed it from the video hours after publishing and posted an apology over behavior on Twitter. On October 2nd, Libby dropped out of the collab project, and it was October 10th when she posted her public apology. As of writing this script, Kai has accepted Libby's apology. Of all faults to place on Libby in this situation was that she was petty. She did so in a defense of her friend, but still acted maliciously. Now, Libby has apologized for her behavior and she has fully stepped away from the drama. She knows that her behavior was not acceptable, and also dropped from the collab that was planned against Kai and Omnia. Her part in the drama was out of escalation, but it's over now, and she's moved on. A lot of people have moved on.
I don't hold anything against Libby, I just think she needs to have a more open mind when it comes to dramas like this.
And while I didn't get the best first impression of you, Libby, I think you are being responsible by owning up to your own mistakes. Only Kai and Omni can accept your apologies, but I think you were being genuine with your regrets. Kudos to you.
There wasn't much that Xena added to the drama aside from just calling Kai a simp. I'm not kidding. That's literally all she added to the whole thing. It's a dumb comment and something that I think she needs to apologize for, but that's pretty much it.
However, after she made the simp comment on Kai's video, Zizu tweeted a response. It was just a petty reaction. Xena remarked that the drama was dumb and that it could have been handled privately. I disagree with that, not only because of the escalation of the drama, but because of its context. This drama did not start from the DMs. The drama started from Tobi's hypocritical actions across platforms. The DMs only served as the point of Tobi showing different faces in public and in private conversations. That she was lying. None of this could have been handled privately when the majority was already public knowledge. Tobi's CP video, Tobi's previous artwork, her own videos defending Shane Dawson, those were all already on the internet.
Yeah, Xena, while you only made a comment about the drama, I still think you should have tried to understand everything that was brought up first. And also you should really apologize to Kai too. And Omnia. Other than that, let's move on. Hopeless Peaches, YouTube personality, ex-friend of Tobi's, and did a lot of fucked up shit. I mean a lot.
So to be brief, because this is not the time or place to be diving into her drama, Hopeless Peaches is currently facing a hill of evidence of her using her depression as a scapegoat, lying about other creators, and being an overall rather toxic and manipulative person.
Camilla and Creepshow art of some of Peaches' victims. If you want a more in-depth analysis on this topic, watch Prisonmate Luke's video on the matter. He discusses it much further than we are and even interviews Peaches' victims as well.
Just to give context though, Hopeless Peaches has a history of lying and manipulating others. She has slandered Camilla as a non-crediting art thief and profiteer despite the facts presented. Camilla never made a dime off the poster, and she also credited Hopeless Peaches on DeviantArt and the Speedpaint on YouTube. It literally credits her everywhere. Hopeless Peaches' signature on the collab poster is also there, and it is visible, it was never covered up, and it's the same size as Camilla's signature. Camilla has her own story, and we'll be linking resources down in the description below and on the top right.
Omnia and Shannon have also made their own videos on their experiences with Peaches as well, so give them a watch when you can.
The victim we'll be addressing in this video is Omnia. She is one of two people who were greatly criticized by major members of the commentary community due to their original video on Tobi. Omnia's videos did not have faulty arguments, but a majority of the criticism on her were ad hominem. She did have some petty behavior that she has since apologized for, which is where Hopeless Peaches comes in.
Peaches claimed that none of the apologies given throughout the drama were genuine. Her reasoning behind this was the fact that she personally knew Omnia. Mind you, the comment was towards Kai, Omnia, and Tobi. So you must understand the utter confusion Kai and Omnia must have felt, because they only spoke to her for a few months! Hell, Peaches barely even spoke to Kai, she only spoke to Omnia! Kai even had to call her out on this!
So you would think that after Omnia called out Peaches for speaking on her behalf, that Peaches would back off, right?
Oh, if only that were a reality.
Instead, Peaches began to thread her replies with Omnia about how she thought that they were friends, that Omnia shouldn't be friendly with people like her or Tobi if they aren't friends. She also goes on to mention that she was not speaking on either of their behalves despite Omnia's refusions. Peaches then switched the script and said that her evaluations of the drama were all personal opinions based off of prior interactions with Omnia, Guy, and Tobi. She also tried to deflect the topic by honing into the word personally in relation to Omnia saying that Peaches did not personally know her, regardless of whether or not Hopeless Peaches and Omnia were personally close friends, which they were not. You can't just throw people under the bus without actually talking to them. That's called lying.
Hopeless then went on to make various other comments on the situation about how she thinks the drama is stupid, how both Omnia and Kai are acting stupid, and how they need to apologize properly. Gee, I wonder what your definition of a proper apology is, Peaches. I'd love to know.
Oh, and she did remark that Tobi wasn't genuine either, but she zeroed in on Omnia and Guy during that fiasco.
Let's not forget that she deleted that comment when two of them called her out. Totally doesn't make you look the least bit suspicious.
Don't forget to mention the other countless comments she's been deleting on YouTube and Twitter.
Twitter too? God, why am I not surprised?
Yup. Peaches made various tweets regarding the drama. She talked about how she was receiving hate despite never making a video on the drama. She said that people were calling her racist because of the drama. She even made tweets on how she was going to make a video on the drama. Of course, these were all subtweets never actually naming Kai, Omnia, or Tobi, which just adds another level of passive aggressiveness on top of the entire thing.
That alone is just petty and suspicious as fuck. But to add more onto this whole shit show, Peaches was acting strange with how she was privating and unprivating her Twitter. While the drama was still going on, Hopeless Peaches had her Twitter public, but after a while, she went private again. This is a rather common pattern she'd pull when this was still fresh.
However, the really suspicious behavior is that during the time that Peaches' Twitter was private, she would go on deleting sprees, deleting the tweets that she made during the previous drama she was involved in. After the tweets were gone, she would open it back up to the public.
She also tried to go after Prismate Luke and talk a bunch of shit behind his back on Twitter. Granted, there were some mistakes he made regarding his response towards Jar, and we'll get to that later. But they're minor compared to the dumpster fire that Hopeless Peaches is now trapped in.
Peaches would say that Luke was mad that she didn't go and kill herself, or say that he was lying and ruining her reputation. To be frank, I think Peaches ruined her own reputation, and I implore you to watch Luke's videos on the topic because Peaches has screwed a lot of people over.
To showcase this hypocrisy, she'd say that she wouldn't name drop anyone involved, despite the fact that she had already name dropped them.
I would have given Peaches the benefit of the doubt due to timing and stress, but these two posts are only 2 days apart. Maybe she posted more tweets that got deleted in between, but if you just scroll down her Twitter, they're not that far apart. That just seems shady to me. How can you go and call someone out, and then say 2 days later that you're not gonna call them out? You already did. Where's the logic in that statement? Unless you're lying.
Yeah, I think the main reason why she fell this far from grace was just how much she just kept on lying throughout the entire situation. It doesn't help that her comments were emotionally impulsive and biased.
Seriously, why are you lying about these things, Peaches? Your comments are not helping either argument and are instead fanning the flames of every single drama you have commented on. If you never started tweeting about Luke, I doubt he would have looked further into your story to find out just how many people you have backstabbed and lied to.
Nezzy is yet another factor on the Tobi drama, where most of her involvement are tweets. One of them being a comment she made where she compared Omnia to Madam/Princess Ash. Now, I do think that this comment was not necessary in the slightest, but I kind of get where she's coming from. Let me explain. In the terms of what had happened, yes, both people shared private stories, and that's where similarities end, however, because Omnia never shared someone's personal stories about sexual assault. She never used it as a scapegoat to treat the victim like absolute crap, and the most important factor here is when Omnia found out that it was a private story, she ended up censoring a part of the DM that shared the private story. Nezzy, isn't that a good thing that Omnia fixed the mistake that she made?
To bounce off of your point there, Junk, we're talking about intent. Madame leaked her DMs with Slimmers because she wanted to hurt Slimmers for calling her out. That was malicious. Omnia released the DMs to clear her name after Tobi accused her of being a liar. The only way she could have cleared her name was to release the entirety of the conversation. It was honestly only a matter of time.
I think the problem with Nezi's involvement is her overall bias against Omnia. She made it very clear who she was siding with, and her comment about Omnia did not help either. While I know she was only trying to help a friend and all, making these types of accusations carry a lot of weight, and if used incorrectly, can absolutely destroy someone's own livelihood. Fuchsia Butters, friend of Tobi's and one of the 2 collab partners with Just a Robot. They were a member of the Fruitcake Club and had their own share of drama, one of which was some similar drama that Toasty dealt with where she had minors in her NSW server.
More specifically, she had minor admins moderate the porn chat in her server, where various images of underage porn, lolly and shota, were being shared. Her defense of this: there was an age restriction on the chats, so minors weren't supposed to be in there. Except her admins, who were minors.
Yikes. Also, let's not forget to mention she made quite a number of tweets towards Omnia and Kai. So much so that a lot of their tweets come off as really tone deaf. I say that because no, Fuchsia, the reason why people are cutting Omnia some slack here isn't because she's got the popular opinion. It's because Omnia has proven many times over that she can handle the heat and knows when to back off. Tobi, on the other hand, has not shown that same courtesy. Also, regarding the collab she did with Jar, the amount of hostility she gave off was just...
Why did you get involved, you dense-skulled leech?
Not necessary in the slightest. There were many comments like this that just could have been easily cut out, as it just doesn't add anything in regards to critique. It's just simply destructive and insulting.
You're being a bully, Fuchsia. While I understand the desire to protect your friend, which you made explicit in the interview, it shows your bias, and more importantly, how that skews your judgment of Kai and Omnia. You mentioned that they had some good points, but that they were grossly exaggerated. However, it feels like you do not know the full story either. When Junkie asked you about the Yellow drama, you said you didn't have a clue.
To me, that sounded odd. You know Tobi very well and have made tweets and points in Jar's video defending her, yet you knew nothing about this?
Kai and Omnia did mention the yaoi drama, although briefly. Minty made an entire video about Tobi's prior actions, and Luke even commented on it as well. It baffles me that for a person so involved in the drama, you did not know about this. You didn't even say anything like, oh, it was just a stupid Twitter thing. You were just completely unaware.
Overall, Fuchsia, it feels like you got just too emotionally involved. While I get that you were only trying to help a friend out, you did so by being rude and insulting to others.
Another commentator of the drama was Minty Shit, or Mineral Garbage. She was a third-party observer in the Tobi drama regarding Kai and Omnia, but also a friend of Ben and Trent. Minty's video, Tobi Majestic, the shit that just ain't it, was more focused on Tobi's previous actions and behaviors, such as with the Ben drama and the Yaoi drama.
Yeah, not a lot of people were covering this topic. It had been mentioned briefly by others in the drama, but Minty gave the full context.
Where Kai and Omnia only merely mentioned the Yaoi drama that Tobi had been in, Minty went fully deep into that rabbit hole. In her video, she outlined a history of Tobi's behaviors and her actions in a group called the Fruitcake Club, a running motif you might have noticed throughout this video so far. Bengaluni, Trent, Tobi, Toasted Vanilla, and various other commentators in the drama were a part of this tightly knit circle. It was a larger server for the commentary community, but it had an inner clique of users who were friends with Tobi and Toasty.
Everything started with the Fruitcake Club.
People in the FCK had seen Ben's drawings on Twitter, and a sketch of his OKKO drawing. The drawing that led to Tobi calling him a pedophile. Which, led to people talking to Toasty, which led to a conversation in the group chat, where things escalated. Minty also mentioned how Tobi escalated the issue across platforms, directly naming Ben in tweets and in her YouTube community chat. On the same day that Tobi accused Ben of being a pedophile on Twitter, she also tweeted out recommendations of her favorite yaoi.
Once again, no one fully knows the age of their audience 100%, but it is irresponsible to just share this type of stuff when there could be minors watching. Not to sound like a Karen, but this is practically recommending porn to minors, Tobi.
Don't forget the fact that Tobi tried to send over minor fans to bait Minty.
And then the blackmailing.
And Tobi's excuses.
Then the buddy video.
And the CP video. Minty also divulged into the actions of other FCK members who had their own dramas, such as Toasty and Fuchsia, as well as Slimmers.
Overall, Minty added a lot more information to the argument against Tobi. Of all people that are involved, she didn't really do anything wrong, but We are mentioning her here because of the role she played.
Minty gave us access to a lot of information on Tobi's prior behavior, showing that this concern around her actions has been a growing issue. Seriously, this thing has been going downhill since June. At least! Okay, so we're finally at Kai. To inform anyone who does not know of Kai or his role in the drama, Kai made his first video about Tobi back on June 24th. He then went on to make a collaborative video with Omnia on her channel where the two discussed Tobi's hypocrisy, toxic behavior, and lies.
Kai's main argument in the video was about the hypocrisy Tobi exhibited in her community. She supported Shane Dawson, who we all know is controversial, awful, disgusting, hypocritical. Do we really need to explain this again? But she also undermined his actions, saying that it happened a long time ago, that he had changed, even saying that he had already apologized. You could see how supporting Shane and Tobi being a BLM supporter and LGBTQ+ ally doesn't exactly mesh.
Tobi also made direct accusations on Twitter, calling Ben the Looney a pedophile. She also made a video on YouTube discussing CP, where she ridiculed a CSA survivor, and made a vague definition of what actually classifies a pedophile. If you can't tell, I'm not happy. Kai specifically targets Tobi's logic and reasoning in this. The most infamous refutation of Tobi's claims was Kai's according to your logic argument, which was misconstrued by various other members in the drama to be accusing Tobi as a pedophile. Kai did nothing of the sort, but because of poor wording and biased viewers trying to pick apart his arguments, the rumor was put forth. Kai even clarifies in his videos that neither he or Omnia think that Tobi is a pedophile, only that her logic is hypocritical because she drew similarly sexually explicit images of minors like Ben. Commentators like Nani, Harsh, Jar, Fuchsia, and Manga have all made points on this, which Kai has taken into consideration as valid critiques.
Of course, that doesn't mean every point they made means that their videos were flawless. Fuchsia being a prime example, as their involvement in Jar's collab video was nothing but hostile.
Kai also has made various other videos on the drama as the situation began to escalate. He made a response to the drama where it began to grow on Twitter with Madlibs, Tobi, and Nazi Monster, a response to Harsh's video in the drama, as well as a response to Jar's collab video.
Kai did have some petty parts in the drama, one of which was his passive-aggressive comment regarding Harsh.
Harsh, friendliness does not give you an open invitation to tell someone something personal. I don't know if you practice normal social cues, but that is one of them.
It was most likely a joke, as Kai never really responded to an interview, so we can only speculate here. Needless to say, the remark was a little harsh, and it came off as passive-aggressive.
Note, Kai and Omnia were stressed throughout this entire drama. They were small channels growing as their names developed notoriety. You have to imagine the stress someone goes through when a wave of big-time channels like Nani, Madlibs, and Tobi begin to go against you and ridicule your intelligence. That's no excuse for the passive-aggressiveness shown from both sides. However, it is understandable from where Kai is coming from.
Kai has apologized for these comments, however, and has announced that he, Omnia, and Harsh have talked things out. Good for them.
Kai and Harsh have since both taken down their videos on each other. Notably, Kai and Omnia have been apologizing for their actions and misunderstandings throughout the drama, which shows their maturity and rationality as the situation has been going down.
The only things that Kai did wrong in the situation was the poor choice of wording and petty remarks. Other than that, the guy's track record is pretty spotless.
Honestly, I wish other people involved in the drama would have taken the initiative to be the bigger person and apologize for what they did wrong. Kai has shown great integrity and responsibility through all of this. It's a testament to how Kai and Omnia have been reacting to the drama compared to their larger counterparts, like Tobi.
Omnia was a fan of Tobi, who made a collaboration video with Kai on her hypocritical behaviors. As a result, a huge drama ensued.
Not any fault to Kai or Omnia, of course, but because of Tobi's reactions and her friends chiming in on the matter. Because of that, the drama blew up.
Omnia had good intentions with her video. She outlined the hypocrisy that Tobi continues to portray online, but things didn't pan out the way they intended.
Kai and Omnia pointed out how Tobi portrays herself as a BLM supporter and an LGBTQ+ ally. However, Tobi's actions completely go against that. She supports Shane Dawson, who we already mentioned, and has made extremely rude and honestly transphobic comments to her own fans, who just wanted her to do better.
Look, I know we sound like a broken record here, constantly repeating what has happened. Trust me, we're doing this to keep the story flowing and up to date. That way, in case anyone wants to skip ahead, they'll at least get some idea of what's going on. You know who you are. Let's go over why this fiasco happened in the first place. In her original video, Omnia leaked 2 screenshots of a longer conversation to show how Tobi was hypocritical and supported Shane Dawson.
Following the drop of Kai and Omnia's video, Tobi proceeded to freak out and accuse Omnia of being a manipulative and scummy person who cuts up DMs. Omnia's response? Leak the entire DMs, because how else could she prove that she didn't cut up anything without showing everything? The reason why Omnia leaked those DMs was because Tobi accused her of manipulating them. It's that simple, folks.
However, Tobi wasn't having any of that nonsense. She called out Omnia, saying that she had leaked a personal and private story, and this dragged in Madlibs, Nezimuster, and Fuchsia Butters into the drama on Twitter.
Now, usually apologies on the internet hold no merit because, you know, it's the internet, but Omnia was genuine in her apologies. She did not mean in any way to hurt Tobi or leak out a personal story. She even went back to censor it and issued an apology to Tobi on Twitter. She did this all publicly, mind you. The girl didn't even know the story was personal to the point that Tobi would be upset about it. After all, Tobi had told this story to an absolute stranger after talking to them for a day. Regarding Madlibs, Omni also didn't mean to start anything with her because everything was a literal misunderstanding. The petty tweet comment was based off of one of Libby's various subtweets, which was actually directed towards Zfix's art. Omnia mixed up the dates and thought the tweet was about her. Thus, argument.
Another person who accused Omnia of lying and manipulating the DMs was Harsh. Of course, Harsh had good intentions, but her video became more passive-aggressive and spiteful as time went on. Honestly, it was one of Harsh's worst videos.
Harsh's points were about how Omnia had originally posted her video, responding to Madlibs with a threat attached at the end. She pointed out that despite being cut, the threat had been published and could have pointed to more nefarious actions, such as lying about the DMs. Harsh was adamant on the point that the fact that Omnia had not shown the full DMs meant she was hiding something, especially since the DMs shown mentioned that it was not their first conversation.
Yeah, but once again, Kai, Omnia, and Harsh had buried the hatchet. We're only mentioning this here for context, otherwise we would just be glossing over it. Those are the only things I can objectively see wrong in how Omnia went about with her approach in this drama. That being said, many of the things that she did wrong in the situation, she either handled it by apologizing for those actions, or going out of her way to fix it by any means necessary.
Was Omnia petty at some points in the drama? Yes! But she's moved on from that, and moved on from the drama. At the end of the day, Omnia had good intentions, as she merely wanted Tobi to take what she had said with a grain of salt and consider her criticisms. She was the bigger person throughout all of this. So, yeah, major kudos to Omnia.
Thuman is a third party who responded to the whole ordeal with her video titled Art Commentary Channels Do Better, where she addresses many of the people involved, like Harsh and Nani. She did have some small comments regarding Manga Comment and how he wasn't taking the situation seriously. However, Thuman did not handle her criticisms against manga in the best way.
Thuman wasn't malicious like some of the people we have mentioned throughout the video, but she did not show evidence of manga's behavior and instead implored the audience to look into it themselves. That was naive of her. Did she mean for manga to receive hate because of it? No. She never called anyone racist either. That's all on the audience. Thuman's one mistake, trusting the audience.
Thuman also called out Hopeless Peach's erratic and obsessive behavior, such as claiming Omnia and Kai's apologies were ingenuine, that the drama was stupid, etc.
We're not talking about Peaches again. That's it for her. The point of Thuman's video, the thesis of it all really, was to bring awareness to the community that throughout the Tobi drama, smaller creators like Kai and Omnia were being pressured by bigger channels like Manga, Nani, and Hopeless Peaches. The purpose of her video was to point out that they have a platform as larger creators, that they need to understand the consequences that their comments may have in a drama, especially as explosive as the Tobi drama, when they were not involved.
Thuman also pointed out how Harsh received a lot of backlash despite being a smaller commentary channel. It did not help that Tobi promoted Harsh's video either. It was just a shit show.
Thuman was trying her best to protect smaller community members and bring awareness to the consequences of people's actions. That's why her video is calling out to the art community to do better, because they were acting petty and immature throughout the drama instead.
While Thuman did drag in Manga Comment into the drama, she didn't mean to. Thuman's intention was to give a third-party view of the drama and not to escalate it. Though, who would have guessed that Manga would have collabed with Jar and Fuchsia to make this?
Ugh.
Prismmate Luke. He's a gaming commentary channel that has commented on the Tobi drama in the past. He helps spread awareness on the matter and even looks into the yaoi drama, blackmail debacle, you name it. He was also one of the 2 people who called out Jar in his questionable collab video with Manga and Fuchsia. While it does a relatively good job pointing out the problems the video had, there's also some issues in this video as well.
For one, Luke made comments on Harsh. Now, Harsh's video was bad, like bad, but Luke confused some aspects of the drama here. He kept saying that Harsh called Kai a simp.
He also just wrote off Kai as nothing more than a simp.
She called him a white knight. Close but no cigar, Luke.
As for the Peaches bit, now, originally I was pretty annoyed by his...
Well, you say how you're going to be taking a break from the drama and comments and all that, which is fine. If you need a break, you need one. I'm not saying you don't have mental health problems, but you would constantly come back to post more things and beg for sympathy. And when you were getting genuine criticism for all the garbage you've done, you decided to suicide bait your audience.
Rather questionable wording there, because no one really knows what goes on in Peach's mind, and you outright stating that she was suicide baiting came off as just a tad bit aggressive there. With that said, what the fuck are you doing, Peaches? Why are you saying that you're not going to name the person involved when you already did that? Don't speak on other people's behalves, for God's sake. Stop lying. Sorry, had to let that out.
Pat.
Don't patronize me.
Overall, Luke was just a third party reporting on the drama who defended Kai and Omnia, and honestly, good on you, dude. They were coming under some sick fire because of, Tobi. While Luke's arguments did evolve throughout some points in his videos, a majority rested on the way he was wording himself. Not the best, but not the worst.
Luke also made 2 videos on Hopeless Peaches. Please check them out if you're more interested about her drama. She threw some heavy accusations at Luke, and I highly recommend you watch them both.
While we're going on the trend of talking about third-party content creators, let's talk about Harsh. Harsh made a video on the Tobi drama specifically addressing Kai and Omnia. It was meant to be a neutral stance of the drama, but because of Harsh's passive aggressiveness throughout the video and some concerning comments, it didn't go well for her. At all. Hell, even Tobi promoted it, and that never spells out anything good. No.
What really didn't help Harsh's case was her can of worms statement that was worded very strangely. I asked her during our interview, and she clarified to me that she meant it as a way to state that she was not educated enough about the topic. That makes it better, but next time clarify that in the video.
Bad wording seems to be a common trend here. Harsh's video mainly focused on 3 topics. 1. Omnia and Kai's interaction with Tobi and her friends on Twitter. 2. How Omnia leaked the original DMs. And 3. How Omnia had cut out a thread from the end of her video that responded to, Tobi and Madlibs.
The Twitter stuff was petty, but Harsh's statement on the DMs was based off of the sentence, "Tobi reached out to me." The point of this argument was to imply that if Omnia was lying about who started the conversation, then she might be lying about something else.
Harsh's points were not good. They all fell under ad hominem, trying to demean Omnia's arguments through other actions. She meant well, but executed this poorly. Especially since Tobi was the one to twist Omnia's original wording. What Omnia originally meant before the full DMs were leaked was that Tobi reached out to her on a separate day to discuss the video Omnia had released, a video which critiqued Creepshow art. Omnia did previously start the DMs with Tobi when she asked for permission to use a clip of Tobi's Creepshow art video in her own.
Yeah, Harsh also talked about the threat that Omnia cut from her video. It happened, and she apologized. While I understand where Harsh is coming from, her comments on the matter were a little aggressive.
After she made her video, Kai and Luke both responded to it. Kai in his own video, and Luke mentioned Harsh in his jar response video. Due to these 2 videos, Harsh ended up amassing some comments that were just hateful. There were misunderstandings and such, but Harsh was being accused of being racist, that she had been defending Tobi, and a variety of other factors. People were hostile because she didn't mention all of Tobi's deplorable behavior, such as her transphobic comment.
Honestly, I think the audience handled it the worst way possible. We'll go over it more later on, but for right now, we'll leave it at just that.
After the backlash, Harsh took down her video on Kai and Omnia. She also reached out to Kai and Omnia to apologize, and the 3 are on good terms. Keep an eye out in the future, because Harsh has said she will be making a video talking over the situation and addressing the things that she went about wrong.
Harsh made a lot of questionable decisions in all of this, but she managed to persevere and make it up to both Omnia and Kai. To that I say, good on you.
Similarly to Harsh, Nani is a third-party commentator on the drama whose video was also not good. Notably, Nani's video just did not look into the situation deeply, and she only stepped in because her community encouraged her to do so. Her video was ill-received, and after being accused of being racist, Nani decided to take it down.
I looked at the video myself, and quite honestly, yeah, the video was just not good. She didn't even show screenshots to back up any of her claims. I even asked her this, and she confirmed to me that she didn't show anything.
To be short about it, Nani only made her video for content. She didn't mean any ill intent about it either. Nani also doesn't really contribute much to the drama due to her lack of research, though she has stated that she might make a video on the topic again in the future. Otherwise, yeah, Nani didn't do much besides making a video that was, you know, kinda pointless. Moving on.
Just a Robot. YouTube commentary channel, rather large in the community, and made a very fucking bad video on the Tobi drama. It housed Manga Comment and Fuchsia Butters, who were his collab partners. Now, we already laid in on Fuchsia earlier, even commented on how it's a bad idea for her to be a part of the video. For Manga, we'll get to him later. But the other thing that I've noticed about Jar here is how ill-informed he was. For example, when refuting the criticisms of Tobi's Todoroki drawing, instead of going over the miswording that Omni and Kai had, he says he's not a minor, he's 16.
But Todoroki isn't a kid, he's 16, old enough to drive.
Jar? What the fuck? You think this is a gimmick? You think this is funny? 'Cause I'm not laughing.
Where do I start with this? Your obliviousness of US law and the understanding that age of consent wouldn't apply to pornography, or the fact that you're calling a 16-year-old, quote, not a kid. What is a minor, junkie?
You a year ago.
Right! Any person under the age of 18. You know, common sense for anyone living in the US. But let me get back to the age of consent law bit.
Good thing I'm not talking about it, because I am not in the mood right now.
Jar. There is a thing called statutory rape. That's when someone under the age of 18 has sex with an adult non-forcibly. Statutory rape is still rape, even if a person says they give consent. Do you know why? Because minors cannot give consent. There's a whole lot more to talk about with this topic, but this is a Tobi drama video, not a criminal law class on crimes against children. To be brief, age consent laws are also by a state-by-state basis law, meaning every state has a different law. You even point this out. Granted, you reflected upon this point, but the fact you still tried to use it to defend Tobi is absolutely ridiculous. I'll go more into this later. Jar, there is a difference between federal law and state law, and even if age of consent somehow applied to fictional porn, your point is moot, because then we don't need to care about general state law. Only what state that Tobi lives in. Do not generalize the law based on your own opinions. It's a terrible idea, and it only showcases your naivety, if not your negligence, when covering the matter.
Don't even get me started on the race comments. Like, I don't even feel comfortable talking about it, because I'm white. Like, yeah, let Wonder Bread over here preach about how racial inequality works.
I'll step in here. For context, I'm Asian, a person of color, but I won't speak for the long list of injustices that African Americans have faced in America. Because seriously, there's a lot. And it's still going on. I can still call out racial insensitivity though, and borderline racism. Jar, I know you don't mean to be awful, but you were. I get it. It doesn't seem fair that Kai can say, quote, you as a white woman, especially since Harsh is half, but her can of worms statement solicited that response. Yours did not. And I really hope I don't need to explain to you why you can't call Kai a racist. Just because Harsh is biracial does not invalidate her miswording that came across to a lot of people, not just Kai and Anya, as insensitive. Hell, I found it insensitive. Also, your black SpongeBob editing, even if it wasn't oversight, and a mistake by your editor, should have been caught early on in the process. That, no matter how you meant it, sounds and looks awful.
Let's not forget his comments on YouTube and Twitter. There are so many responses he made that just screamed knee-jerk. Like this comment where someone literally calls him out for his biased video. He just shrugs it off and states,
"Oh, Kai is just saying that for points like he always does."
Nice.
Don't forget his Kai is a professional victim comment.
Kai is just a professional victim.
Or this other one where he flat out says,
"No one is ganging up on them, but if they keep on going, then your wish will come true."
I get that Nezzy, Madlibs, and a few others didn't make videos on them, but they gave them so much shit on Twitter, dude.
To elaborate, Jar, you ignore the tweets and YouTube comments from other big channels blindly. I understand not paying attention to these details because they seem like stones in a pond. But until Thuman and Luke made their videos, no one in the community was speaking up for Kai and Anya except the audience. Hell, Luke isn't even a member of the art commentary community. He's part of the gaming commentary community. There's been some overlap, but the issue is still the same. Miss ZZ, Madlibs, Nezzy, Tobi, Hopeless Peaches, Fuchsia Butters, and Nani all spoke up against Kai and Omnia. That's a long list of people.
Oh, remember that time we talked about Trent? You know, where we apologize for our shitty behavior towards him? Here's Jar commenting to him where Trent brings up all the shit he went through. Jar's response is,
"Watch the video. There's no opposing side."
Jar, your video did not cover the entire Tobi drama. In fact, you literally just covered Kai and Omnia. And I know you don't claim to cover the entirety, but Tobi has a history of deplorable behavior. You cherry-picked a few videos and a few of Tobi's actions and went with it. Hell, you even defended them. Where's the mention of Ben, or Trent, or maybe even the yaoi drama? There's a lot of damage here. Apparently none of that mattered to you.
according to manga, this video was delayed for a few weeks. How in the hell did you not notice this? Matter of fact, why did you not notice that Fuchsia was biased in the video? They flat out stated in the script that she was doing this for Tobi.
I'm joining in because Tobi is my friend.
One more thing. You've been saying in the comments that you didn't find out that Fuchsia was biased until after the video was released. But when I watched your response, you said...
And I also didn't realize how close of a friend Butters was with Tobi until we got started on the video.
Jar, did you just shoot your credibility through the roof? Cause that does not look good on your part.
Yeah, Jar, if I were to give you the benefit of the doubt, it would have been because you were emotionally impulsive. But there was a period of weeks to cool down before this video hit YouTube. It didn't have to come onto YouTube. I understand you were angry. You seem like a very loyal friend. That is admirable, but this video wasn't. You were not kind. You were rude and honestly insensitive to a variety of current social issues that did not need to be brought up. You made this political when it didn't have to be. You addressed some of these in your quote-unquote apology, but...
Yes, Jar. You apologized, but you only apologized for some of these things. You even said that you were only going to apologize for the things that you think you did wrong. I mean, it's a start, I'll give you that, but that's still not cool of you, dude.
You took the L, mostly, but you still need to learn.
Manga Comment. He's a YouTube commentary channel who talks about various topics regarding video games or just stuff that he's interested in. He's also been going through a bit of a rough patch from what we've looked into.
But he still walked voluntarily into his dumpster fire when he didn't need to.
So how manga got involved was due to his own replies towards Kai and Omnia in the YouTube comment sections of the drama videos.
They were jokes, both literally and figuratively. Manga only commented on the matter because he thought the drama had been blown out of proportion. So, he decided to input his thoughts through memeing in the comment section, by referencing No Straight Roads and Austin Powers.
I like your sense of humor, manga, but this was the wrong place and time for any of that. Now, manga here wasn't really taking any of this seriously because he felt like the drama was a joke. I mean, to an extent it kind of is, but there are some parts of it where it should be taken seriously.
Manga thought the drama was a joke because people were taking vague comments made in videos and exaggerating what they said, such as with Harsh's can of worms statement. He started treating the drama with a bit more sincerity after people began to call him racist. Why? Because Thuman called him out for not taking things seriously despite being a larger channel.
Granted, Thuman really should have just shown the screenshots of the conversation instead of just letting the audience find out for themselves, because it's the internet. People will take almost anything you say to heart.
Once again, Thuman never called anyone racist. That's a rumor mill started by the audience and also spread by Peaches. Should she have given the audience the benefit of the doubt to not overreact? No. But Thuman never called manga racist, nor does she tell her audience to attack any of the people she covered. That was escalation on the fans' part. But it was because of the racist allegations that manga decided to cover the drama. What a big mistake.
Manga joined in on Jar's collab video and did not do the best. Granted, his points were the better ones of the three, but there's still some issues. For example, his comments regarding the legality of DMs.
My time has come. Conversation law, what a delight. So, to address manga here, he says that he is speaking from a legal side when he calls leaking DMs a scammy thing to do. Now, miswording on manga's part, but to be brief about it, leaking DMs is a legal matter depending on where you live. In some states, it is illegal to leak DMs or conversations or even record them at all without permission, aka two-party consent states. In some states, as long as you have consent from one person, including yourself, to record the conversation, it is completely legal. One-party consent. Both Omnia and Tobi live in one-party consent states. Which states? I'm not saying because I'm not a creep. Just know that it's legal.
Also, can I just mention how dead inside you sound? I get that you're sick of the situation and you were suffering through a leg injury. Sorry to hear that, by the way. But you didn't have to join in on this video. You could have just let the situation die down and move on. For example, I had PK respond to me with a really, really bad video that was obviously emotionally driven. I had a stream where I was playing a game and decided to dive in a little bit. But as I continued to go through the entire response, I thought to myself, what's the point? Ignoring things can sometimes be a good thing. It doesn't solve everything, but in the long run, it's better to just live and let live.
To each their own. But seriously, this could have been a dead horse buried. You even mentioned that there was a period of weeks where the video's posting was delayed. There were so many mistakes in this video, not just from you, but a list of insults from Fuchsia and obnoxious comments from Jar that would inevitably reflect back onto you. Even you said, Manga, you may wanna at least see a script of whatever the other part of your collab is, because some people will think that you will agree with what the other party will do/say.
There were many delays before this video came out. Time could have been spent looking over issues or to cut out parts that weren't necessary. You could have caught Fuchsia's comments early on, especially since you were the one working on the script. Manga did give me a link to look at his script and oh god. No.
That's a lot of damage.
Hey, this is Future Junkie stepping in with a message. Manga comment wanted me to clarify a few things. 1. Peaches didn't influence the script. Though no one but Peaches has claimed that, but alright. 2. The editing wasn't for any actual points, which no one has claimed except Manga and Peaches. And 3. That I was in the wrong for sharing it behind his back. Even though he was fine with me sharing the script in this video, just not with Omnia. So, neither Phantom or I contacted Manga when we saw the screenshot. Instead, we sent it over to Omnia because we felt like it was the right thing to do, as we felt that Omnia deserved to know. We still feel that way because it still looks shady as hell, no excuses. However, Manga did want us to note, Peaches did not influence the video whatsoever, but she did correct grammar here and there. Manga also wanted us to clarify that the script was a draft with various renditions which she had actually stepped away from at some time, but was brought back into the project by Jar where final revisions took place. Yikes. I apologize, Manga, for not letting you know about what we found in your script, and we should have came to you for more clarification. But our point still stands.
Peaches should not have even touched the script if she was friends with Omnia as she claimed to be in the comments section. And not to mention, this was only 18 hours after their conversation. She decided in 18 hours to go participate in a script being written against Kai and Omnia. You also misspoke about Omnia, Manga, saying that she claimed Peaches wrote, edited, and influenced the script, when she said,
with the help of Junkie and Phantom, it has come to my attention that Hopeless Peaches helped edit Just a Robot, Mega Comment, and Fuchsia Butter script for the Tobi drama video less than 24 hours after our last conversation. Let me repeat that one more time. Hopeless Peaches helped edit Jar's script for the Tobi drama video 18 hours after our last DM conversation. For someone who likes to claim that they are my friend and they know me personally, you would think she would at least know not to do something as messed up as that. You would think she would know not to contribute to a video that ultimately led to me reconsidering whether or not I should even stay in this community. You would think she would have at least have some semblance of human decency that would make her double back and say, this might be messed up of me to do, let me not do that. But you know what? She chose to do it anyways, and that's what really, really disappoints me.
And she never stated that Peaches wrote or influenced the script. Peaches said that. And that's her misquoting Omnia.
Manga, did you even watch Omnia's video? I think you can be pretty chill, Manga, but your comments came off as emotionally impulsive and really defensive. Look, it's okay to be wrong. I've made my own fair share of mistakes in this situation. I've made that very clear early on in the video.
You even made up with Kai in the comments. You could have handled this maturely and rationally. Hell, you talked to Thuman and apologized about the misconceptions before this video came out. Why did this video come out, Manga? You even reached out to people to talk in Discord when they reacted badly in the comment section of the video. For a person so willing to talk, you acted like a brick wall. But if you really felt dragged into this, if you felt that you had no passion because of all the shitty things that were happening, you shouldn't have gotten involved. Using this video to clear your name wasn't a valid excuse, because you never clarified why you got involved. You never mentioned that you felt attacked and stressed from false accusations. Until now. So far, everything you have said, regardless of it being in YouTube comment sections or on Twitter, has been a deflection of responsibility. You say you already took the L, and people shouldn't bring it up to you, except you continue to defend your actions by proxy through Peaches.
You honestly should have just stepped away, dude. Also, manga, who did this? What happened?
Who doctored my evidence?
You can know enough about a subject to think you are right, but not enough to know when you are wrong. Look, I know I'm quoting Neil deGrasse Tyson here, but it's true. There are quite a few people in here that had this mindset that they had enough to make a video on and call it a day, with little regards to research. I mean, I was no better at first, but you get my point.
This is a common phrase brought up in the criminal justice system. Confirmation bias. I thought I would bring it up because it felt the most applicable to the situation. Confirmation bias is a psychological phenomenon where a person ignores any evidence presented to them in favor of their previous biases. Any evidence that they do have, they interpret it to validate their own opinions. This is how people cherry pick evidence without seeing where they are wrong because they don't think they're wrong.
So let's apply this to everyone that got involved, from the top. It should be obvious why she went after Omnia and Kai here, honestly. She wanted to defend herself by deflecting points back onto them, and Tobi didn't want to admit that she was wrong, so Kai and Omnia had to be wrong instead. It's the only way.
If you notice all of Tobi's nitpicks and accusations towards Kai and Omnia, a lot of them seem far-fetched and exaggerated. Omnia showing 2 screenshots of the DMs turns into cutting up and manipulating the DMs and accusations of her being a liar, a scummy person, a two-faced... The list goes on. On the other hand, if you look at the evidence Kai and Omnia compiled, it's all there. There's no way to defend it. It happened. But Tobi tries her best still to find evidence of wrongdoing when it isn't there. To note, Omnia's revoked threat is a different matter.
She tried to do the same thing with Trent. She blackmailed him but warped it into her claiming that he was leaking her sex worker account. We both know that's a load of bullshit and only claimed that to try and silence Trent.
And to justify her actions despite them being highly egoistic. The same applies to Shane Dawson. It's a toxic fandom in that sense as well. Tobi likes Shane and likes his content, therefore anything bad against Shane must be a lie or over-exaggerated. Even when he does something wrong and gets caught, she will defend him, like she's been doing throughout this entire drama.
It also explained her blindness to her own hypocrisy. Tobi's points were always excuses or deflections because she just didn't think she was in the wrong. Because of how much has gone on, we're going to group Madlibs, Miss Zizi, and Nezzy together because of their rationality was mainly to defend Tobi.
Because of their prior experiences with Tobi, this group would be blind to most accusations against her. The rationality would follow something along the lines of, I know Tobi, she can be emotional, but she doesn't mean any harm. Kai and Omni are just attacking / exaggerating her actions.
They comment on Kai and Omni's behavior because they just didn't see the point in commenting on Tobi. They're friends with Tobi. They're used to her doing this.
If you notice the way they comment on the drama, it all relates to Tobi and how they treated her, rather than if the facts were wrong. They do not talk about Tobi's horrible actions, only about how Omnia was pulling a madame, or Kai was being a simp, or how Omnia was a two-faced. You get the point. Are any of these accusations based in fact?
No.
Because no one here was looking for facts. Their biases were leading them to conclusions before anything else. Kai and Omnia were against Tobi, so they had to be bad. Their points had to be invalid.
Hey, they gotta reach their quota somehow.
Why is he here?
Yeah, dude didn't even involve himself at all in this drama. Skip!
Bias, bias, bias.
If my interview with her didn't confirm that, then I don't know what will by this point. Fuchsia Butters is a prime example where bias can completely cloud your judgment. Not only was she blatantly defending anything that Tobi did, but she didn't even know a lot what was going on, like the yaoi drama.
I get it. It wasn't the biggest part of the drama. But since you were covering Kai and Omnia's concerns and points, you would think you would have been the slightest bit aware. Confirmation bias can do that. You blind to everything you don't care about, but only shows how biased you were for Tobi. You didn't care about Kai and Omnia being wrong, you only cared that they came after Tobi. Otherwise, you would have known every point they referenced, or at least the vague thesis of their argument. That, Tobi is a hypocrite. Instead, you went around insulting people for what? To defend a friend.
Look, I know Tobi's your friend, Fuchsia, but when a friend fucks up this hard, you can't just keep defending them blindly. You gotta be straight with them. Being their meat shield won't do you or anyone else any good. Lord, what didn't you do?
I don't even know why you got involved. Talk to Omnia for like a month, then ghost her, flip to the dark side to edit a video slandering her and Kai right after you stopped talking? Just why? I guess it was because you felt slighted somehow? Everything after that was just to protect yourself with your usual monologue of, I didn't do anything wrong, people just hate me for no reason.
Don't get me wrong, I still think Luke's suicide bait comment was a bit much, but your actions aren't making you look any better, Peaches. You lied so many goddamn times that I can't tell when you're telling the truth now. You could have just come out with an apology and that you have a problem with lying. Instead, you just bunker down and continue to lie. You try to ignore what everyone was saying because you didn't like what they had to say about you, even if it was the truth. Look, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
From Harsh's interview, her general consensus of getting involved was because she was upset from Omnia's threat against Madlibs and how Kai was handling the drama. Now, to be blunt, since production of the script, Harsh, Kai, and Omnia made up, so anything I say from this point on, take with a grain of salt, because Harsh's opinions have most likely changed. I would say that Harsh, in some descriptive manner, joined the drama to protect another creator. I would posit that it was Madlibs, but once again, nothing is definitive. Harsh honestly had no reason to get involved, and her video ignored points from Kai and Omnia's arguments, and instead focused on ad hominem, such as Omnia's threat, which she had apologized for.
Not to mention, she came off as way too aggressive. Like, I know Harsh's content. I watch her from time to time. And even I thought that what she was saying was going a little overboard. It felt like the rationality of her actions were of the heat of the moment, like how Harsh forgot to mention Tobi's transphobic comments.
From what Harsh told us in the interview, the reason why she came off that way was because she honed in on Kai in his Twitter response video as well as Omnia's cut threat. This blinded her because she only wanted to look at what was wrong with the video, though she had treated it like an overview of their actions in the drama. Harsh was naive to only watch one video.
At the end of the day, however, she's since seen the errors of her ways and apologized to both Kai and Omnia.
Honestly, consider this bit about Harsh filler until her video comes out. She said that she would be making one covering her experiences with the Tobi drama and with Kai and Omnia, so just, keep an eye out. Everything here on our end is speculation and analysis.
If Harsh's video is out by the time this video is published, a link will be up on the top right hand corner. Go ahead and click it if you want to watch her side. For Nani's case, it's based on how little research she did. She didn't even have any screenshots in her video, only Kai's video to just bounce off of.
To be blunt, Nani's faults don't lie with any bias of any kind. She was just negligent. That's it, folks.
We already went over Fuchsia, so let's just jump straight to manga and Jar.
Manga, in your attempt to prove that you were not racist, you joined a video that had racist tendencies. That is hypocrisy in a nutshell, sir.
You had some valid points, but they were overshadowed by a certain purple woman and a rust bucket. You let your ego blind you because you were so convinced that you were being called out for no reason. Well, you just gave yourself a reason to be called out. You could have just taken the L and just said that you said some stupid shit in the comment section. Instead, you took the racist flag and ran with it.
For a person who was so adamant on talking things out, you blocked out everyone else. After the video, you asked people to talk to you about the issue in Discord, but you didn't give that same courtesy to anyone before you were called out. Oh, wait, you talked to Thuman and still made this video with Jar. Are you kidding me?
Speaking of Jar, dude, buddy, compadre, friendo, what even was this video? Not only were there multiple inappropriate racial remarks, but your points regarding Todoroki really made you look sus as fuck. Really? Driving a car means you're down to fuck? Ugh.
Of course, that's hyperbole, but then again, you used a literal car image to prove your point. I don't drive with that. You, sir, were biased. Like Fuchsia to Tobi biased, except for Harsh and Nani in this case, and because you were defending their videos which minimalized Tobi's actions, you ended up defending her too. You were so blind to the consequences of your actions when you made so many of these snarky comments. Your points had no evidence and all fell upon ad hominem. Hell, the only good points brought up were for those from manga, but they became trash after Fuchsia, the person you brought in, began to berate Kai and Omnia. Is this the hill you want to die on, sir?
Kai and Omnia both made videos on Tobi, mainly to call out Tobi's hypocrisy. Why? Because she was being a hypocrite. It shouldn't be that complicated, right?
Trust me, I have glided down their arguments with a fine-tooth comb, and I can say they're pretty valid. Everything they fucked up on, they apologize for. Hell, the only things that they did that could be considered bias was to protect each other, but at the same time, they held each other accountable. Did they defend themselves? Yes, rightfully so. Everyone has the right to defend themselves. It's only a matter if they don't apologize or if they only defend themselves and never apologize. Tobi.
Plus, many of the criticisms were either biased or unfounded, like the DM leak. Sure, you could call them that, but it was necessary since Tobi forced Omnia's hand. What do you expect when someone calls you a liar? To just not tell the truth? Ugh, what world do you live in?
If you thought we were gonna call Kai and Omnia biased against Tobi, sure. I guess? Whatever makes you happy, but you're wrong.
For Thuman's case, she was merely a third party that only got involved to call out the hypocrisy and stand up for smaller channels. Did you see any bias there, Phantom?
No.
Alright then. As for Luke, I think the same applies here. Honestly, he came out of left field in this one, but it's a welcome change, as he did call out a lot of the figures involved. He made some mistakes in terms of wording, but handled himself better than many of the others did. Besides, he wasn't wrong. Ben, victim.
Trent, victim.
Minty?
Friend victim.
That works.
Alright, bitch, let's talk about law.
Oh god, I was hoping we'd avoid this.
No, but the people need to know, Junkie. The people need to know.
Oh god.
But first, legal disclosure. I am not a lawyer, this is not legal advice, and it is in no way intended to advise people on legal matters. This is an informative discussion on the relevant laws brought up by both sides of the drama to defend their respective points. This message is to clarify, not to criticize. Okay, let's do this.
Okay, Miss Lawyer.
I'm not a lawyer, I'm a crim student.
Same thing, I guess.
Not even. Let's be brief. Disclosing private conversations by recording and leaking them, such as in screenshots and videos, can be illegal under certain circumstances.
Just about everyone has called it a scummy thing to do, but many people involved did not really understand what the law actually says.
The first point we'll be covering is Manga's argument from Jar's video, as he deliberately stated that he wanted to address the issue from a legal standpoint, and then called it a scummy thing to do. His evidence for it being a single screenshot regarding the reasonable expectation of privacy.
Kai responded to this point and mentioned Katz v. United States, a Supreme Court case that
has nothing to do with this drama at all. Let me explain.
Actually, yeah, why am I even talking about this if I know nothing about it?
Kai's point in this argument was to emphasize the fact that Katz v. United States has no place being brought up in internet drama, especially since it applies to law enforcement invading the right to privacy. And he's right. Katz v. United States was a Supreme Court case cementing the fact that law enforcement, such as the FBI, cannot bug or intrude private conversations without consent of the parties involved, even if the conductor, like a payphone, was public property. That was the precedent made by this case. Quote, "The Fourth Amendment protects people, not places." And from the precedent that consent was needed to record private conversations was made, even for the government. One-party and two-party consent laws build off this. These are state laws extended off of federal statute. As previously mentioned in regards to Manga's statements on the matter, Omnia never broke any laws by leaking her DMs with Tobi. She was within her legal right to do so. This falls under one-party versus two-party consent laws. These are state laws that dictate whether or not every party in the conversation needs to give consent for the conversation to be recorded. For example, if you went to California, you would need everyone's consent for a conversation to be recorded. But if you went to Texas, you'd only need the consent of one person to record the conversation. This person can also be yourself. And if one were to make the argument that Tobi might live in a two-party consent state, well, you're out of luck. Tobi lives in a one-party consent state too. Anyway, that's the legal argument behind this point, because everyone has been talking about the DMs, some implying that it is illegal. Well, it isn't.
Seriously, Manga, do your research.
Okay, you're going to be hearing a lot from me regarding legalities. So, let's talk about child sexual exploitation materials, CSEM, versus fictional pornography depicting minors, FPDM. While this may make some of you uncomfortable, there is a difference. This is a highly scrutinized gray area of the law. To follow these points, let's get some facts out of the way. Hey, Junkie, do you support fictional porn of minor?
No.
Good, because neither do I. We are not here to soapbox that fictional porn is okay to draw just because of a legal gray matter. We are here to discuss why it is a gray issue and what the law does dictate. Fictional pornography depicting minors is not child exploitative sexual materials. That is a legal fact. As depicted in Ashcroft v. Free Speech Coalition, a 2002 Supreme Court case, fictional porn depicting minors is not an example of child pornography solely due to the fact that there are no victims in the crime. As such, FPDM is not a violation of child pornography laws, but rather obscenity laws. It is still criminal. This is where the issue becomes gray. The reason why Ashcroft v. Free Speech Coalition occurred was due to the fact that the Child Pornography Prevention Act of 1996, or the CPPA Act, included two provisions that were overbroad, impinging on the values of the First Amendment regarding free speech. As such, following 2003 and the PROTECT Act, also commonly dubbed the Amber Alert Act, FPDM was acknowledged and put into a separate category from child pornography. This was a legal definition where FPDM would be classified under obscenity law following the Miller test. Certain variations of drawings, cartoons, or paintings that appear to depict minors engaged in sexually explicit conduct are not criminal. It is only under the consideration of obscenity do these images become violation of federal law. To simplify this, not all FPDM is illegal, but some are. Illegal FDM fails the Miller test, a three-pronged system with the requirements that under the average person's point of view on the matter, the FPDM appeals to prudent interest, depicts or describes in a patently offensive way sexual conduct as described by the law, and taken as a whole lacks serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. To clarify, FPDM cannot 1. Be excessively sexual, 2. Offensively depict sexual conduct, or 3. Lack literary, artistic, political, or scientific value, or it will otherwise be a felonious offense. So the reason why this is a great issue is because of that term, average person, as it leaves the interpretation to be vague. You could go onto the street and randomly ask someone what they think is excessively sexual, and everyone will have a different answer. As such, the legal handlings of FPDM are a state-by-state basis. Certain states do flat-out criminalize any type of cartoon pornography or drawn pornography of fictional minors, such as in Utah, but the law is more lax following the federal basis in states like California. We did look into the laws of Ben's state. Once again, for privacy, we'll not disclose the location, but we are aware that his state follows the bylines imposed by federal statutes. As noted by his state's laws, child pornography charges only relate to the pornography of minors. As defined by the state, a minor is classified to be a person under the age of 18. Note a person being a real-life person, not a fictional character, as referenced by Ashcroft v. Free Speech Coalition. The same also applies to Tobi's state. The two have similar laws that both group obscenity and child pornography together, though they are different offenses. Also, note that based on circumstances, the charges for obscenity can range from that of a misdemeanor to a Class D or Class 4 felony. So, do obscenity offenses count as sexual offenses? Yes. But did that give Tobi the right to call Ben a pedophile? No! From what I'm aware of, Tobi is not the judge, the jury, or the executioner. She's not a lawyer, and from public knowledge has no education in legal fields. Once again, I am not a lawyer myself. I'm a criminology major and I've covered child sexual offenses in the past before, so I feel somewhat comfortable addressing the topic. I could expand upon more on the ethical basis that the American legal system is based off of, but I think I have made my points clear. By legal definition, neither Ben or Tobi drew child porn. Their drawings can be classified as obscene under legal discretion that I have no power over. I cannot say whether Tobi and Ben committed crimes or not. I am simply making that abundantly clear right now. I have no legal authority or input in this matter. I am not an attorney, nor am I a judge, and neither Ben or Tobi are on trial. I'm just telling you the facts, folks. Leave the law to the lawyers, and do not bring law into an internet drama unless you've done your research.
Phantom, my head hurts.
Because of the pan or the legalities?
Both.
Well, too bad. You didn't have to research that. I did.
Can we do something simpler?
Depends. What's your definition of simple?
Anything that isn't law-based. Listen, I don't need more preaching from my college professors, okay? I've gone through that nightmare once, I don't need to relive it once again.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah, so let's talk about how the drama escalated, because you don't get this many videos about a drama unless something happened.
Definitely. From what I see here, this was originally something started by Toasty, when he called out Ben in the FCK. Then Tobi happened and she escalated it. Same thing with Trent.
This is a common trend that keeps popping up. Tobi, for whatever reason, keeps trying to escalate things way more than they need to be. It got to a point where I'm wondering if she's even aware of her being the sole cause of the drama getting this bad.
Tobi, you are a problem. But yeah, Tobi's actions started it all. She vehemently called out people with a claim of a moral high ground when she had done pretty similar stuff, such as, you know, fictional pornography depicting minors. She called out Shannon, called out Ben, blackmailed Trent, there's a lot of damage there. When Kai and Anya called her out, that attention just shifted onto them.
Tobi cherry-picked their wording. For example, when Kai made the argument of Tobi's definition of what makes a person a pedophile, she completely ignored the preface that he made, according to your logic.
She took it from according to your logic to you are a pedophile, saying that they called such and implied such, as well as a variety of other factors. She called Anya a lying, manipulating, a scummy person because she showed 2 screenshots of a conversation. Tobi spoke of her own misunderstandings of the situation as fact, and that only made it worse.
Tobi escalated it even further when she threw more false accusations towards Kai and Anya in her Addressing My Controversies video, even getting her friends involved when she tweeted about Kai and Anya. Tobi took this cross-platform.
And those misunderstandings spread by Tobi? Yeah, other people picked up on that. And not because they were bullshit. People began to misunderstand Kai and Anya's arguments due to prior bias or a lack of research. Many people didn't mean to defend Tobi, but because they were validating her false accusations, this drew public ire. The YouTube commentary community just about freaked out, and the drama escalated as more people got dragged in.
Kai and Anya made videos to defend themselves against these false allegations, because why wouldn't they? And they addressed their opposition. They were smart and picked apart their arguments instead of relying on cheap shots and insults towards each other. They pointed out poor word choices and blatant misrepresentation of their own videos, such as Harsh's can of worms statement that drew a lot of hot water.
After Tobi's hypocritical stance of being a BLM supporter, despite being a Shane Dawson stan, added with Harsh's can of worms statement, race became a relevant topic in the drama. Less so on the commentary side, until Jar's video, but a commonality nonetheless amongst the audience, who began to call creators like Harsh and Nani racist. When Thuman and Luke both addressed the topic, the audience escalated their reactions, as showcased with Manga Comment, who was being called racist for not taking the drama seriously.
Hopeless also got involved and tried to speak on Kai and Anya's behalf, which only drew in more unnecessary attention as larger creators were commenting on a drama involving smaller channels.
Then Jar got involved.
I'm pretty sure it's self-explanatory what he did wrong, but to sum it up, Jar just made everything worse. He literally dug up the dead horse.
With the added recourse of Manga and Fuchsia, the video did not go well to say the least. After which Luke commented on Jar's video and Kai and Anya made a response. Jar didn't help again with his own quote-unquote apology video, which was 1/3 chosen apologies and 2/3 excuses against Luke, Kai, Anya, and Thuman. Jar's video also brought in legalities.
We already went over what they got wrong. Lord almighty, don't make me talk about it again.
Manga got caught out for getting involved for no reason, and Fuchsia, biased? From there, the drama mostly died out. After being called out, things settled. Then Jar asked Spock to make a video to defend him. That didn't happen. From here, the drama just about concluded. Spock made his video overviewing the drama and how it all started as a part of the contrarian argument posed by the art community mentality, and how everything was based off of misunderstandings and miswording.
Anya made a reflection based upon the Tobi drama, and Jar made 2 videos with his last remarks and pot shots towards Luke. Classy.
And then Peaches happened. We all know how fucked up her drama is. Please go watch everyone else's video on the matter. It is still playing out, and we cannot speak on the issue because we're here to talk about Tobi.
The way this drama escalated was a sight to behold, honestly. Looking back, the community could have handled itself much better, much like myself. I'm so glad that the script me and Madlibs made never got finished. I would have looked like such a complete moron.
Yup.
Really? That's all you're adding?
Yep.
Okay, with that said, this drama blew up way more than it needed to be. People hopped onto the bandwagon either to protect their friends or defend Tobi or prove some kind of contrarian point. This all ended up embodying into an escalation of pettiness and aggression towards one another. Insulting one another and showing very little in regards to awareness just absolutely made the situation a complete shit show. Speaking of insults and lack of awareness...
That was like hooking your nipples up to a car battery and setting that shit on high.
I don't know if you practice normal social cues, but that is one of them.
Kai is just a professional victim.
Why did you get involved, you dense-skulled leech?
You decided to suicide bait your audience.
Stupid little beta cuck who doesn't like any controversy even though he loves to stab people in the back because he's a fucking little beta cuck.
Hi everyone. Now, I just want to preface that I know that not everyone commented on the Tobi drama or talked about the people responding to the drama. I'm aware of that. But for those of you that did, I got a few choice words to say. You know who you are. Now, one example I was shown was from Harsh Opinions comment section. We can all come to an agreement here that her video was not good. Even I can agree with that. It was an awful video that was way too aggressive. However, the fuck is this? Do you just jump onto people and ridicule them to gain brownie points for the people that you guys look up to or something? Why did you think this was a good idea? Especially regarding her in such racially provoking comments that will only make you all look bad. Oh, I'm not alone on this either. I got one special comment where they said, and I quote, "You better not screw up the video you're planning on making about Tobi. If you defend her, you'll suffer." I got that comment back when Spockter mentioned I was going to look over the drama in the future. And this is what I hate about the YouTube comment section. Just because you don't know what the outcome will be of whoever's talking about this, doesn't mean you should just leave low-key threatening comments like this. It doesn't solve anything, it makes people that are involved more paranoid, and it just causes more bullshit to happen. What I hope you all take from this, based on the comments that I've shown, is to learn and do better.
This shit was fucked up, yo.
What Phantom's out-of-date attempt to look cool is saying that we need to be more rational and understanding of each other.
Okay, seriously, this community was impulsive to jump on a bandwagon without any thought. Friends can be defended, biases can be drawn, but if everyone bandwagons and starts to blow a fuse, things are only going to escalate. How many more people need to be dragged into a drama that's no longer about Tobi, but about defending Tobi? How long can a drama take to die out beyond 6 months? This has been insane, to say the least.
People need to understand the situation more before jumping in and saying their piece. I say that with confidence, knowing that I almost fell into that same trap. Learn from my mistakes, please. Step back from a situation and look at it as a whole. If you start to notice things that don't seem like they add up, then they probably don't. Don't ask your friends to defend you blindly. Ask them to hold yourself accountable. We all need to be held responsible for our own mistakes. Friends are your allies, not your shields.
Fuchsia is a key example of this. She has gone above and beyond to protect Tobi. She has denounced care for Kai and Amya's mental health. She has denounced the credibility behind their claims, all because she is friends with Tobi. It is a blind madness, that type of loyalty, because who is getting the brunt of the public backlash? Tobi is, but still, Fuchsia went out of her way to be a diehard friend. Now, there is a time and place for that type of dedication, but when your friend is in the wrong, you should be there to help them learn, not help them forget. Teach them, guide them to do something better. You need to let people grow. This bias ruins your arguments, your credibility, and even your other friendships.
Seriously, Jar, why did you bring Fuchsia in? If you knew early on, you could have dropped the project. You could have gone back and fixed those things. But you didn't do any of that. You just let things burn.
This all ties back to bias. We all have our opinions, we all have our friends, but we should never let this blind us. It will pull us far and thin until we snap. A key rule of thumb is to do your own research. Listen to your friends, but be open-minded. You can always be wrong. Don't draw quick conclusions without knowing the full story, because some things you may have credited to be truth are simply lies. Behind every drama, there is so much happening behind the scenes. These are real people with real emotions and real lives.
Besides, it's about time we remember that.